Welcome to the deep dive. You know that wall of perfectly synchronized light in a massive sports bar or a casino sportsbook?
Oh, yeah, where there's like dozens of massive screens pushing pristine 4K.
Right, exactly. But the magic isn't actually in the glass itself. It's in the unseen architecture buried behind the walls. Specifically, devices like the Vitec AVPLY-M M9400.
Right, formerly Exterity. That's the hardware we're examining today.
Yep. And our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how commercial AV networks pull off this massive choreography without just, melting it down. We're pulling from an HDTV Supply product page to analyze the deployment data.
Okay, let's unpack this. The M9400 is a 4K UHD IPTV set-top box. It's pushing 2160p resolution at 60 Hz, and it supports HDR10.
So my initial thought is, to compare it to an Apple TV on steroids.
Yeah, you'd think that, but looking at the specs, it's less a consumer streamer and more like a high-speed transit hub.
Right, because it's pulling down this massive continuous pipeline of data and power through one tube and instantly unpacking it into a flawless visual experience.
Exactly. That transit hub concept is crucial because in commercial spaces, premium video quality is non-negotiable. Venues require interactive user portals and advanced network video decoding.
Which takes a lot of power.
Oh, absolutely. The processing overhead to unpack a 60 frames per second data stream continuously, 24/7, it requires completely different silicon architecture than what sits in your living room.
Which really brings up my biggest question looking at this setup. Processing continuous 4K 60 Hz usually generates enough heat to fry an egg.
Oh, for sure.
So if a commercial venue is running, say, 160 of these endpoints behind drywall, how is the building not catching fire? I see the specs emphasize a fanless design. Is that just a marketing buzzword for, we save money on parts?
Well, what's fascinating here is that going fanless at this processing load is actually a deliberate engineering necessity.
Wait, a necessity?
Yeah. Instead of active cooling, the casing itself acts as a massive thermal sink to dissipate the heat.
Oh, wow.
Right. And by eliminating the mechanical failure point of a spinning fan, the mean time between failures drops significantly. That ensures the device survives buried in a hot wall cavity.
That makes sense. But still, I'd assume powering 160 separate boxes behind that drywall is an absolute nightmare for commercial electricians.
It would be, but that's where the PoE, or Power over Ethernet architecture, completely changes the financial equation of a build-out.
Just because of the cables.
Well, it isn't just about cleaner cable management. PoE eliminates the need to hire electricians to run 160 separate 110-volt outlets behind the screens.
Oh, right. So it just uses the network.
Exactly. The M9400 draws its electrical payload and its massive data stream through a single network cable from a centralized switch.
So you've got this thermally efficient single cable hub buried behind a brick wall. But if something goes wrong during, the Super Bowl, you literally cannot touch it.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
I'd assume managing 160 of these things on a network feels like a complete IP address nightmare.
It would be, without robust software integration. But because the M9400 supports SNMP and API control, a single AV technician can just sit at a centralized dashboard.
And see everything.
Yeah, they can monitor the thermal health, packet loss, and HDCP v2.2 decryption status of all 160 boxes simultaneously.
HDCP v2.2, that's the security handshake required to play protected 4K content, right?
Spot on. And HDTV Supply actually pairs these players with massive modular matrix switchers, specifically to route that encrypted video to those 160 endpoints effortlessly.
That is serious high-stakes commercial AV. If one link in that HDCP chain fails, the whole wall goes dark before kickoff.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that.
Which makes this humanizing detail I found on the HDTV Supply source hilarious. They boast a 96% 4 to 5 star rating, right?
Right, pretty solid.
Yeah, but there's this one review from a user named John M. who specifically notes, quote, "When I called, the staff was less than friendly but answered my question."
I love that. In the highly technical world of commercial video routing, getting the correct technical answer instantly is clearly far more valuable than a sunny disposition.
Yeah.
The network just needs to function.
So bringing this back to you listening, the massive synchronized video walls you see in public spaces are entirely dependent on invisible thermally efficient hubs like the M9400.
Yeah, leveraging PoE and deep API control to just keep the pixels flowing.
Right.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it leaves you with an interesting question to ponder.
Let's hear it.
If a single silent piece of hardware can reliably pull power and flawless 4K video from just one standard network drop, how close are we to a reality where every architectural surface in our public spaces becomes a seamlessly integrated, high-definition display?
Wow, the walls literally become the screens. That is definitely something to think about next time you walk into a sports book. Thanks for joining us on this